Good evening. Police officers based at Birmingham Airport are being given specialist training to try and spot young people who are being flown abroad to be forced into marriage. Last year, there were almost 1,500 known cases of forced marriage in the UK, though the real figure is thought to be much higher. 16% of those cases took place here in the West Midlands. A third of them involved people under the age of 16. But tonight, a former victim of forced marriage, who now works to support young people, is alleging that some Asian police officers are unwilling to tackle the problem. Our special correspondent Peter Wilson has this exclusive report.
Birmingham Airport, gateway to the rest of the world, but for some the journey is a nightmare, leading to a forced marriage. Outside of London, the West Midlands has the highest number of such cases in the country.
The main terminal here at Birmingham Airport is the very last opportunity for the police to intervene. In some cases, females have even hidden metal objects in their clothing, knowing that security staff will stop them and prevent them from leaving the country.
Arranged marriages are part of many cultures and acceptable when choice is involved, but a forced marriage often means emotional duress and violence. West Midlands police officers at the airport are now being trained to help to intervene even at the last moment.
It's really highlighted some of the issues around forced marriage that perhaps the officers that work here at the airport weren't aware of before, and it's given them extra information so that they can look out for some of the more vulnerable people in our society and provide assistance and reassurance to help protect them.
Kelly Kerr knows all about forced marriage. At 15, she was expected to marry a man from India. She ran away from her home in Warsaw.
You kind of have mixed feelings, you're a bit scared, and then at the same time you don't want to hurt your parents.
She now runs a project helping to support young people, but claims that not all police officers want to help.
Where you've got your own community working in the police force who don't really agree with what we're doing.
So you're saying that some Asian police officers are reluctant to get involved and help?
You'll get some that will help, but I think a majority of them really think that it shouldn't be happening because it's a tradition, a cultural thing which they're getting confused with, and that, you know what, you should just go ahead and get married.
In their marriages, there was a lot of domestic abuse, a lot of violence happening.
Back at the airport, the police training is provided by Karma Nirvana, a charity set up to confront issues about forced marriages.
A father holding a gun at the back of his daughter who didn't agree to a marriage, and that can be the consequences of death, so it can be quite extreme in certain cases.
To intervene in any domestic situation takes courage and training. Next year, the government will make forced marriages a criminal offence. Peter Wilson for BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham Airport.
Well, joining me now is Superintendent Claire Cowley. Good evening.
Good evening.
1,500 known cases of forced marriage. Any idea of the true figure?
Unfortunately, that's really hard to quantify. We know that about 1 in 6 of those national numbers take place from within the West Midlands, but we know from partners receive significant numbers of calls in West Midlands over and above that, so we believe the problem is far more widespread.
Now, we heard from Kelly Kerr in Peter's report there that she believes actually the majority of Asian officers are unwilling to get involved in any kind of intervention. How seriously are you going to take that allegation?
Clearly, I'd be very concerned about any officer not taking one of these allegations as seriously as possible. There's a great deal of risk and we need to address that and protect victims. But equally, the work we're doing in Operation Sentinel that's led to the training of the airport officers has very much been about making sure our frontline officers are fully informed of the latest position, of the risks, even perhaps ones that they wouldn't normally have been thinking about, such as airport police officers, and raising the profile with them so that they can do that. Clearly, if any victim of honour-based violence or forced marriage doesn't feel that they're being taken seriously, clearly keep talking to police, but equally ask partners like Karma Nirvana to come and work with them and to represent them, and I'm sure that Karma Nirvana and other such organisations will support them in their reports.
But you need to be certain that these are forced marriages, don't you? Not arranged marriages, which are perfectly acceptable in many cultures.
Absolutely. There is a world of difference between that. The key is how willingly is the individual going into a marriage. If they're not willing, it's a forced marriage.
It's a very delicate issue, isn't it? How confident are you that this training that you're giving to officers is appropriate and is going to take effect?
Yes, it's something which we need to constantly reinforce. I mean, this is just, as I say, a 4-month or so operation to raise awareness of our frontline officers in a range of different areas of vulnerability, not just forced marriage and honour-based violence, but things such as child sexual exploitation and domestic abuse, making sure we constantly revisit these messages with our staff so that they fully understand the risk.
Superintendent Claire Cowley, thank you.
Thank you.
And if you have any concerns about forced marriage, there's more information and contact details for the charities featured on our Facebook page. Now, coming up later in the programme,